Hello and welcome to Pure Upstyling. I'm Katie Rote with Pureology, and today we're going to learn a beautiful upstyle utilizing accessories that will make any bridal, night out on the town, or festival hair look amazing. I've preset my mannequin, and I've actually done a half set rather than a full set, and I'm going to explain why I did that in just a moment. But first, let's talk about how I prepped her hair. I used Pureology's Clean Volume Shampoo and Condition to wash her, and from there I sprayed in her hair Pureology's Color Fanatic 21 Benefits. So for those of you who haven't used this product, on the back of the bottle, all 21 benefits are listed. So you actually can hand this to your client, and they can read about the benefits, and they can feel it in their hair as you're using it on them. Some of the benefits are it contains a full spectrum UVA, UVB protectant. It has a heat protectant built into it. It's a great cutting aid, and it's a great detangler. So I sprayed this on, and I combed it through, and then I dried the mannequin's hair to 50%. From there, I sprayed on her scalp our brand new product, our On the Rise Root Lifting Mousse. So this product contains vegetable protein, and what that's going to do is it's going to give you a lot of beautiful volume, but it's not going to build up on the hair. Would you agree that sometimes volumizers tend to build up on the hair? Yeah, I do too. So this product won't do that for you. So it really sets it aside from other volumizers on the market. So besides the beautiful packaging, this product also has this little nozzle on it. And I like to refer to this nozzle as a direct shot nozzle. So what's great about this is when you spray it onto your client's hair, it's going to give you nice lines along the scalp or wherever it is that you choose to spray it. So that's going to give you more concentration of product, which in the end is going to give you more volume or max volume. So it's a great benefit to have this little nozzle on there. So that went on her roots, and then from there, on the mid-shaft and ends, I sprayed on Pureology's Clean Volume Weightless Mousse. And it is just that. It is a weightless mousse, and a little bit of this goes a long way. So I then did a directional blow dry, and I directed all the hair away from the face, and this is actually a voluminous directional blow dry because I am looking to get volume. I'm using volumizers, that's the whole point. So I then took small sections starting in the back of the head, and I used a Denman brush to create volume at the base or at the scalp, and on the mid-shaft and ends I used a large ceramic round brush. From there, I created a deep left side part. Now, I realize that you can't see that right now because my mannequin's hair is set, but what I did or how I found that is I actually went up from the arch or the high point of the eyebrow, and I went up from there, and that's where I created my part. So my front section, I actually found that utilizing my comb. So the comb itself is a great tool to use when you're looking for the high points of the head, whether you're cutting or you're styling, whatever it may be. And I'm not going to set this on her head right now because I don't want to crush my set. But to utilize this comb, you can actually set this on the head, and where the comb picks up is the high point of the head. So if this were flat on her head, the comb would pick up about right here, and then the rest of the comb would be flat on the head. So that tells me that that's where my section is going to begin. So that's how I found her first section. And her first section comes down to right behind the ear on both sides. And this is actually about a 2-inch parting from the hairline. And you can see on this side as well that it comes back behind the ear. So that is my front section, and I did a directional set. So in the front here, I curled the hair going to my right, and I curled it from the part over to the natural recession point. So you can see my last curl is coming to the natural recession point. And what the natural recession point is we all have this. It's a little more prominent on others, but it's right where your hair starts to recede a little bit. And again, some people have a really prominent one and some don't. But that is the natural recession point. So I curled her hair over to the right, and once I got to that point, then I stopped and I did 2 curls that went away from the face, and I did 1-inch sections on all of these curls. So by the ear I did 1-inch sections, and I curled them away from the face, and She has a smaller head, so I only had to do 2 curls that were going away from the face. Now, on the opposite side of the part, I did the exact same thing, but because I did that deep left side part, I only needed to actually do 1 curl that was curled to the left, and that curled off the part, and it actually ended in her natural recession point. So 1 curl that went curled to the left and down, and then I also did the 2 curls again on the sides, 1-inch sections going away from the face. So behind that 2-inch section is going to be the top of the head to the apex of the head. So I did a brick lay technique in this. So I did 1-inch sections and I staggered or brick laid the hair. So I did a 1-inch curl right behind the part, and then I did 2 more curls behind that, but I staggered them, and by staggering the curl, it's going to give you more of a natural end result rather than seeing really harsh partings in the hair. So I did this brick lay technique right down below the apex of the head, which is the high point of the head. And so for her, she doesn't have a real distinct occipital bone, but if she had an occipital, I would say her end curls here at the bottom are going to be about 1.5 inches up from the occipital. So she is set, and from there, we're now going to start with all of this hair that I have left out. So this is a Vanessa mannequin, and she's got a lot of hair. As you can see, a lot of hair. It's very long. There's no layers in it. And sometimes I find when we are working, especially doing updos, we spend a lot of time curling all of this hair that I have left out down here in the bottom. And would you agree, you spend all this time curling it and then you pin it up and nobody sees it. So it's kind of a waste of time and a really extra workout for you. And it's not always necessary. So what we're going to do with this hair down here is we're actually going to take our comb, and if you have not seen this comb, this is Pureology's Moon Comb. And it is a life changer. It's a game changer. It is a lacing comb. Pureology, we use the word lacing. It's back combing, but we use the word lacing. So I'm going to utilize this comb, and we're going to section our mannequin down the middle of this section. So she's got a nice middle part here, and I'm going to start, it doesn't matter which side you start on, I'm going to start on my right side, and I'm going to show you guys over here how I'm going to lace her hair. So I've parted her hair, and we're actually going to clip this out of the way just to make our lives easier. So from here, we're going to take, we have it parted, we're going to take another inch vertical parting, and we're going to lace the hair on the inside of this part. So inside meaning it's going to be closest to the section that we just took. So this middle parting here, this is going to be the inside. So I'm going to take my moon comb and I'm going to place this in at about 2 inches. Excuse me. Turn this so you guys can see. So we're going to place this in at about 2 inches out from the scalp, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to push it back. Now, this is a very large section. I'm not going to separate this section. You can, if it's more comfortable for you, you can separate this and take it into smaller sections. And if you're going to do that, how we would go about doing that is we take a smaller section and we place the comb and go at 2 inches and push it back towards the scalp. I'm going to come in now at 1.5 inches and push it back, and then one more, come back in at about 1 inch and push it back towards the scalp. I'm not looking to create a ton of volume here. I just want to get a little bit of cushion in here. So we actually separated this. Now that you've separated it, what we're going to do is we're actually going to add this bottom section of hair into this top section. A lot of times when we lace hair, we tend to get separation in the hair, and it's because we don't connect the hair to the next section sometimes. Or if you have a large section like this, you need to connect it to, and you separate it, you need to connect it to the next section. So I've already done my lacing and created my cushion in the top part of this section. So now I'm just going to hold the whole section, and I'm going to start where I left off into the bottom section, and I'm going to lace them together. So I'm going to come out at 2 inches, and I'm going to push back. I'm going to come out at 1 inch and push back towards the scalp, and then I'll come out again at, that was about 1.5 inches. I'll come in at about 1 inch and push back again. This way, now you can see that the whole section is pushed together, and you're not going to have that separation that sometimes you will see in your end result, and you have to end up fighting it to get it to look like it's a whole unit. So again, we're going to come out at 2 inches and push back. We're going to come to 1 inch and push back, and then we're going to come down. That was 1.5 inches, and then 1 inch and push back. And we're going to continue to do that through this entire right side of the mannequin's head. I'm going to speed this up here. And I'm going to move in just a moment so I can show the other side of the room what it is I'm doing. All right, so there's my lacing on the right side of her head. We're going to spin her around here so the left side of the room can see. All right, so I'm going to take in this the right side of her head, and I'm going to pin this out of the way. And now we're going to work on the left side of her head. And again, we're going on the inside of the section. So she has her center part. So we're going to take a 1 inch section off of that center part, and we're going to lace our mannequin's hair on the inside rather than the top of the section. So I'm going to come in our moon comb 2 inches out, and we're going to push back, come down to 1.5 inches and push back, and then 1 inch, push back to the scalp. And we're going to continue to do that all the way to the outside of the section. 2 inches, 1 inch, and then 1 inch. Two inches, 1.5 inches, and then 1 inch. And then we'll just continue to do this till we get to the outside of our section, which we are at. So the lacing that we're putting in here, this is not going to create a bunch of volume for us. And that's not what we're looking for either, is a bunch of volume down here. What this lacing is going to do is it's going to create a cushion for your clothespins to hold on to when we start to utilize our clothespins. And clothespins being bobby pins, Pureology, we like to call them clothespins, and open pins, which would be a hairpin, but we're going to be using clothespins. So now that the lacing's done, what we're going to do is we're going to utilize our soft bristle brush. So I don't necessarily want to see any of this, but I don't want to brush it all out either. So if you haven't used a, you can get this is a boar bristle brush. It's a soft bristle brush. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the outside edge of this brush, and we're actually going to brush gently over the top of all of our lacing just to hide it, keeping the hair clasped in our hand, our opposite hand. And once that's done on that side, we'll move to the opposite side, and we're going to gently comb out with the outside of our brush, our soft bristle brush, that top lacing that you see, and we're going to brush that out. And it looks beautiful, and we're just going to clip this out of the way for now. So you just made it to, all you did right there is you polished the hair, but you still have all of that lacing left in the hair. So you have it there to utilize with your closed pins. All right, so that part's done. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to move up to the crown of the head, the apex of the head, or the top of the head. And I'm going to lower her down just a little bit. And I'm going to start to drop these pins. So besides the product that I have in here, I did spray her with our brand new product as well. It's not new actually, that's a lie. It's our soft finish hairspray, and it just got a facelift. So it's got orange peel in it, which is going to give it a nice shine, and it's also going to give it a really nice soft hold. So I did spray this set with that. The soft finish hairspray is probably one of my favorite working hairsprays because it's a hairspray that you can continue to spray. And the more you spray it, the more hold you'll get, but you can still run your hands through it. So she does have that on her hair to help set her hair. Get these last pins out. All right. And I'm going to leave the front part of the set and the side part of the set where they are because it's just going to make my life easier as I'm working through this and not having to fight that hair in there. That's out and I don't need to use right now. Okay. So I'm going to give this a quick little brush with my quick brushing with my soft bristle brush just to kind of pull that curl out. And we're going to start at the bottom of this section, and we're going to lace. So we're going to bring back our moon comb, and I'm going to take a 1-inch section. And this is a very large section that I took with her set, and that's okay. I want this to be more of an organic end result. So it is a larger section that I took, and it did fall kind of down just below the parietal ridge. Throughout here, well, not really, it came up right above the parietal ridge, but it's a wide section nonetheless. So we're going to pin the top out of the way and we're going to lace. So underneath here, I'm going to start at the side here and I'll move around. I'm going to divide this section, because it is a large section, in half, and I'm going to work my way around the head lacing. And I'm going to come underneath, and here is where you can get creative. If you want a lot of volume, you can do a lot of lacing. If you don't want a lot of volume, you can do a little lacing. For me, I want somewhere in the middle because, again, I'm not looking to have like jack it up to Jesus volume. I'm just looking to have some nice organic volume so her head's not flat. So I think I'm going to come up to about 3 inches with my lacing comb here, and I'm going to push back down to the scalp. And from 3 inches up, I'm going to move down to about 2.5 inches and push back down to the scalp, and then down to about 1 inch and push back down. So you can see now she's got some nice volume in there, but it's not a lot of volume. So I did subdivide that section because it is a big section. So from here, what we're going to do is I'm going to take another section, and I'm actually going to subdivide it again. So these sections are probably about 1.5 inches big as I'm subdividing them around the head. 1.5 inches section wide. I should probably use proper English. From there, I'm going to pick this section up, and I'm actually going to take the previous section that I laced, and I'm going to lace them together so it alleviates the chances of me getting a gap in there. So I'm going to go up to 3 inches, and I'm going to add in just a little bit of the previous section, and I'm going to 3 inches, and I'm going to come back down and lace about 2.5 lace and about 1 inch lace. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on this last 1 inch section that's left out. And I'm going to move around to the other side in just a moment so the other side of the room can see. So 3 inches, and I'm incorporating my previous section, and we're going to push back down the lace. Come up again to about 2 inches in lace, and then about 1 inch in lace. So you can see she's got some nice lacing in there, some nice volume. All right, so now we're going to take another 1 inch section. Pin the rest of that hair out of the way, and I'm going to move around to the other side of the room here so you can see. This time, though, I actually am going to do something just a little bit different. So I'm going to pick this section up, and I'm going to subdivide it again and work my way around the head. But this time, instead of going underneath the section, I'm going to go on top of the section. So I'm actually going to spin her so you can see what I'm doing from the front. And I'm going to tilt her head down. All right, so in the front here, what's going on is I'm going to, again, instead of lacing on the bottom, we're going to lace on the top. So I'm going to come in about 3 inches up, and I'm going to hold this up about 90 degrees from where it lives. And I'm going to come in with my moon comb and push down. Come in at 3 inches, push down. Excuse me, that was 3 inches, now 2 inches, and then 1 inch and push down. I'm then going to take the section and subdivide it again to create another small 1 inch section. I'm going to pick up the previous section, and again, we're lacing on the top of the section as opposed to the bottom of the section. So we're going to come up at 3 inches and push down, 2 inches and push down, and then 1 inch and push down. And then our last 1 inch section, lacing on top, pick up a little bit of the previous section, 3 inches to start, push down, 2 inches, push down to the head, and then 1 inch push down. So now she has lacing on the top of the section rather than the bottom of the section. And I'm going to pick her head back up. All right, so we're going to take another 1 inch section, and we're going to continue to do our lacing. So let's talk about why I did lacing on the top of the head. I find for myself, now I'm left-handed, and I tend to find that I am more heavy-handed on my left side, so when I'm lacing, I get a lot more cushion or lacing on my left side than I do my right side. And that's something that I've just noticed, especially when I get into doing creating my up style, and like one side of my up style will collapse and I don't understand why, but like the left side always looks amazing. What I'm noticing, or what I found that I do personally, is I tend to be more heavy-handed on the left side rather than the right side. So what I found is if I go in and I lace on the top of the section, it kind of gives me a little bit of a security blanket, so it fills in that right side, or both sides actually, so that the hair doesn't collapse on me. So that's why I like to do lacing on the top and on the bottom. So again, I'm going to do lacing on the top here, and we're still doing the 3 inches, 2 inches, 1 inch. And then when I get to that top section here, because we're in our last section now, so we're at our very last section. I'm going to turn to this side here. We're going to do lacing on the underneath as opposed to the top. So I did underneath, on top, underneath, on top, and now we're going to come up to our last section, and we're going to do lacing underneath again. So 3 inches, and we're going to come down, and 2 inches, come down, and then 1 inch, come down. So you can see she's got some nice lacing volume in there. It's not huge. I'm not looking to have huge volume. I just want to have something in there to give her some lift so it's not flat to her head. All right. From here, we're now going to utilize our soft bristle brush. By the way, I learned about this when I became an artist with Pureology, and it has changed my life. So if you've never used one, these things are amazing because it doesn't rip out all of the work that you put in with your lacing. So soft bristle brush. I'm going to pick up this entire section that I just worked on. There we go. And you can see she's got a lot of lacing going on in there. So we don't want anybody to see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to, again, utilize the outside of our soft bristle brush. So by utilizing just the outside, it gives you just a little bit more control of the brush, and you're not going to push so hard and maybe potentially take out all of the work that you just did with your lacing. So I'm going to use the outside left part of my brush, and I'm just going to gently smooth out this lacing. And if you can see, I'm running the brush all the way down through the ends of her hair. So once I feel like I have the left side combed out where I want it, I'm then going to move to the right side, and I'm going to turn her around here so everybody can see. And I'm going to switch my hands, and now I'm going to be using the outside of the brush on the right side, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. Gently combing that out, bringing the brush all the way down. It's important to bring your brush all the way down and through the ends, simply because it's just going to keep the hair from snarling and snagging later on. All right, so I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our soft finish hairspray, and I'm just going to give her a nice spray, and you can see the hair's got some nice movement to it. It doesn't have that real structured, I call it the snooky poof from Jersey Shore. It's just soft, and that's what I'm looking for. And I'm okay, I'm going to come in here later and create some more texture, but I'm okay that there's this texture in here. But for now, the lacing is hidden, and that's what we're looking to do. So again, I'm going to spray on some of my soft finish hairspray. I'm going to then come back over one more time with my soft bristle brush just to get any of those extra flyaways down. All right. So from here, I'm going to switch hands here because all of my tools are on the left side. So from here, now if I push this up, you can already see that she's got a lot of texture and movement going on in there. And that is part of the reason why we did this partial set, is I want to see that texture and movement in there because I want this to be more organic looking rather than structured. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to clasp the hair. I'm going to clasp it in my right hand because I'm left-handed. So I'm going to clasp it in my right hand, and I'm going to take the hair with my left, and I'm going to turn it or twist it to the left. Now, again, I'm left-handed. Things naturally go to the left for me. If you're right-handed, you can twist it to the right as well. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally your preference and how the hair falls or how you want it to fall. So again, I am holding it in my right hand gently. I'm going to take it with my left hand, and I'm going to twist it. So it's a half twist to the left. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm actually going to push it up now to create that volume. All that lacing that you put in there is now going to come into effect. So I'm going to have a look at this. And again, I want this to be organic. So I really want this to drape on the sides rather than having, again, that really harsh, definite like volume there in line. So I want it to drape. And I'm going to come through and I'm going to start to pick out the hair with my fingers. So just by pinching and pulling up, just to create a little more volume and to give it a little more separation. By doing that, what that's going to do as well is it's going to start to bring out the natural wave that you created in the hair with that set that we put in. So I'm going to have a look from the side before I pin it. And now I'm going to turn this back so you guys can see. So from here, again, I'm just going to reclasp this with my hands and keep it twisted. So I'm going to pinch this with my right hand, and I'm going to grab a clothespin, and I'm using a blonde clothespin here, and I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to push it up and into the hair. So here's a cool thing I learned about bobby pins, is I've always been really good at opening bobby pins, like so. And so what I found with that, and didn't realize that there was a way to hide it, is when you have them open like that, you have a hard time hiding the end of the bobby pin. And so you see it. And so sometimes we tend to spend a lot of time trying to cover that bobby pin or the end of it. And what happens is the bobby pin itself, when you open it, it grabs a lot of hair and it stops where it can no longer, it stops once it's up into the hair and it can no longer go any further. So you see the end of the bobby pin. So if you don't open the pin, the closed pin, and you just push it and slide it up into the hair, it has the ability to go in and hide itself. Yes, you can still see it a little bit, but it's more hidden than it would be if you were to open the pin itself. So she's secure in there. I'm going to add in 2 more pins, and I'm going to crisscross them. So I have 3 pins going up at a diagonal. So they're going up at a diagonal to the right. And I'm going to go in and just crisscross them with 2 more closed pins just for security. And with that, I'm going to come in over the top And I'm still going to go in at an angle, but I want to make sure that I get those pins in there. There we go. Come down at the bottom here, and we're going to crisscross this. Voila. All right, so let's take a look from the side. And it's always good to step away from your work and have a look at it, because a lot of times we tend to work right on top of our work and you don't really see it. And then you get done and you're like, this looks amazing. And you take a look at the side profile and there's a lot of gaps or dips or, you know, things that maybe not be flattering. So it's good to take a step back and just have a look at it. So I want just a little more volume in here. Pull that up. I'm going to turn her to the side so I can have a look at the profile. All right, I think that looks pretty good. And you can see that she's got that nice draping coming down on both sides. So here's her right side, and then here's her left side. All right, so from there, I have that pinned in. We're gonna move into all of this hair that we have left out on the bottom. So we're gonna start at the top of this section. So, or excuse me, the top of the section. So I'm going to take organic pieces. Again, this is not, I'm not looking for super structured, defined sections here. I'm looking for more of an organic look that has a polished finish to it. So I'm going to take, on the left side, this is probably about an inch thick section, and it's going to come right up to where the bobby pins are. So that's the left side, and then on the right side, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to take about an inch section with my fingers, and I'm going to just kind of comb it out with my fingers as well. So here we have two sections pulled out on either side of the twist that we just created. Now here's something important that you want to keep in mind is you did put all that lacing into the hair, so be careful not to pull it out with your fingers because we do need that lacing. So from here what we're going to do is we are going to create a rope braid. So how we're going to start this is I'm going to twist the hair to the right. So we're going to go this way to my right. So I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to twist it once. I'm going to pinch it with my left hand. I'm going to take it with my right hand again and twist it again. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing with the hair in my left hand. I'm going to twist it to the right, pinch it with my pointer finger and my middle finger on my right hand to hold it, take my left hand, pinch it again, and twist it to the right. So now you can see I have two twists starting. So from there, I'm going to take the left hand and I'm going to cross it underneath the right, still keeping the hair twisted. All right, so I now have created one twist. I'm going to go one more time and twist it. So I'm going to twist it one more time. So now that left strand is going to come up and over the right. So now I have a lock. So you can see that you created the twist. You're starting your rope braid. From there, I'm going to add hair in. So I'm going to pinch the hair in my right hand with my thumb and pointer finger of my left hand. And I'm going to take another inch section from the hairline up, and I'm going to add this to, I'm going towards the rope braid now. I'm going to add it to the rope braid, and I'm going to twist it to the right again. All right, so I'm going to hold that. I'm going to move over so we can see on this side of the room here. I'm going to switch my hands up here. Now, again, I'm going to take another section, and I'm going to pull it over. It's about 1 inch, and you're going to get to the point here now that you have the hair that's from the twist that we created in the volume up here. You're going to start adding that in as well to this rope braid. So I'm going to add this into the top part of the twist, which is from the left side, and I'm going to pinch it with my right hand. So I'm going to pinch it with my thumb and my pointer finger, and I'm going to twist it again. All this hair underneath here, you have this hair up here secured, so if some pieces pull down, it's okay. It's loosely secured, so you can pull it back up if it tends to get pulled down a little too tight. But all this hair down here, you want to make sure that it's in, or it's out of the way. So we're going to twist this. So we're still twisting to the right. All right, so now that we've twisted to the right, we're going to take the left side and we're going to cross it back underneath the right. twist it, add in another inch section from the right side. I'm going to twist the hair. So what we're doing is we're traveling down to the ends of the hair while adding in, and so we're creating a rope braid and just adding in hair to each twist. So we're going to twist it again. It's important to make sure that the hair has a twist to it and everything's going to the right when you're twisting, and then you're across to your left underneath your right. I want you to notice as well that, let's go from the side here, that I'm not pulling the hair straight down. I'm pulling it out towards myself a little bit. I do want to have some volume in here. Now, I didn't actually create a ton of volume. If you remember, we didn't create a ton of volume. What we did is we created a cushion for pins. But I still want this to stand up off the head a little bit. So I'm pulling the braid away from the head, which is going to give me a little bit more softness when I start to create my up style. So I'm still adding hair in, and I'm moving down to the ends of my mannequin's hair, adding hair in and twisting to the right, crossing my left under my right, add in the hair, and now I've added all the hair in, so I'm going to continue to twist all the way down to the bottom. And again, it's important to keep twisting the hair in the direction that you were going. We were going to the right, because if you don't keep twisting the hair, it's eventually, when you get down to these smaller pieces of the hair, the thinner area, you're going to lose that twist. And you still want to see the braid. So it's important to keep the twist in the hair and keep twisting as you do your rope braid. Okay, so from there we're going to use an elastic. I'm going to use a clear elastic. You don't have to use an elastic if you don't want to. If you're comfortable with rope braiding, you can definitely just hold the rope braid in your hand. It's totally up to you. For today's purposes, I'm going to use a clear elastic. And a lot of times, she doesn't have a lot of hair left down here. So a lot of times we tend to sit and twist and twist and twist to get that binder to secure and to hold. Today what we're going to do is, I've wrapped it a few times just for to get the idea of it. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that binder, that elastic binder. We're going to hold it in, I'm going to hold it in my pointer finger of my right hand. And I'm just going to twist it around my finger until it gets tight up close to my finger. The more you twist it, the more it starts to get tighter and tighter. From there, I'm then going to open up the clear elastic again here, like this, and I'm going to wrap it around one more time. And now you don't have to wrap the binder 8 billion times to get it to hold. So just a great trick so you're not spending a minute wrapping the clear elastic around the hair. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to start from the top of the rope braid here. So what we're going to do is, this rope braid is secure, but we're going to rouge it. And what that is, it's expanding the rope braid. So I want to start from the top here. And I'm just going to start pulling the braid apart. The bigger, the better. So again, the Vanessa mannequin I'm working on doesn't have a lot of layers, so I can get her hair to become pretty big, which is great. Somebody who has a lot of layers, you may get some pieces that fall out. Again, that's okay, because it's just going to add a little bit of more texture to the hair. So also notice that I started at the top of the section. I didn't start from the bottom into rouge. So sometimes we start from the bottom, and that's great, but once you get to the top, you end up pulling hair from the bottom, and you're kind of working against yourself. So I would recommend that we start from the top and work your way down to the bottom, because that way you're going to have more hair at the top where you want to see the most volume, and you're not working against yourself once you get to the bottom here. So here is the side profile of her hair so far. You can see that on this side, down here in the nape, if I were to pull this out, she doesn't have a lot of loose, lacking hair down here in the nape. Let's turn her to the other side. On this side of her head, you can see if I pull the hair out, she does have a lot of loose, lacking hair here. So that's okay. This is where I gauge where I'm going to turn the hair, or how I'm going to twist the hair, because we're going to create a chignon type of twist here. So if I were to twist it this way, what it's going to do is it's going to pull all that hair up. So if I twist it this way, I'm twisting it to her left, to my left, twist it up, and it's going to help, it's going to hide that. Or excuse me, it's not going to hide that. You're going to see all of that hair here, this lacking side or this looser side. So what I like to do is whichever side has the more loose hair or the more hair that's hanging out down in the bottom, is I like to start to twist the chignon to the opposite side. So she's got more hair down here on the left side, so I'm going to twist it to the right side. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to twist. Now, you can create your chignon high or you can create it low. For her, we're going to start more down in the nape of the neck because I kind of want to see just a little bit of this twisted texture that we created at the top. Again, it's your discretion, it's your up style when you do this, so feel free to place this wherever it is you feel comfortable. So you can see that as I twist it over to the side, it really tightens that lacking side here. So we're going to start the chignon, and we're actually going to start to pin the hair as we work. Again, remember, we created all that lacing inside of this, so we have places for our clothespins to secure. So from here, I'm going to take a clothespin, and I'm just going to stick it into the hair, and I'm going down towards the center of the nape. That's the direction I have my clothespin facing. My pin is right here where my finger's at, so I'm going to take another pin and cross that. And I felt that locked, so perfect. From there, we're going to continue to move around. So I have the tail of the hair, the ends of the hair in my right hand. I'm going to hold the middle part of the chignon with my left hand, then I'm going to repinch it with my right hand, and I'm going to hold it with my right hand. Because now we're coming up and we're going to create a turn here. So this is where the chignon portion of this comes in. I'm going to take another clothespin and I'm just going to push it in a downward motion towards the nape of the neck. Take another pin and I'm going to secure that. And once I feel that those two pins have crossed and locked, now I can let go and it's secure. Awesome. So we're going to keep working our way around until this is secured all the way through. So we have the ends of this chignon, or excuse me, the ends of the chignon here. What I'm going to do is just take and pin those into the hair. And I'm actually pinning this in an upward motion. Eventually these pins will start to cross. And it's going to give you maximum security from your up style so your up style doesn't fall out. Okay, so her up style right now is looking a little lackadaisical, and that's okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to create, and we're going to pin the chignon where we want it. So what's great about this is you have all this hair that you didn't spend hours curling or, having to pin. You put it in a rope braid, and now you have a really dimensional, beautiful look that we're just going to start to create and pin into place so that it doesn't, so that it looks more symmetrical. So we're going to take another pin here, and I'm going to pin this now in an upward motion. And really what I'm looking at, I had mentioned earlier, I'm going to keep my finger where I put that pin so I can find it. And I'm going to crisscross that pin. Perfect. All right, so now again, I mentioned earlier stepping away from your look and seeing how it's the symmetrics of it and the dimensions of it. So this is a good time, again, to step back and have a look. So I'm going to spin her around. So I personally feel that I want her to stand out just a little more. So I'm going to pull on the hair and separate it or rouge it. Just to create a little more volume back here. Now, as I look to the side, I can see that she's not symmetrical. So from there, what we're going to do is we are going to continue to add clothespins and just pin the hair so that it starts to get some more symmetry to it. And when you have this much hair too, it is important to remember where your pin is. You can tend to lose pins. So I always like to keep a finger on the pin that I just placed so that I can find it again and I can crisscross it. All right. I'm gonna add a couple more pins, closed pins up in here. Bring that closer to the head. So as I look, I like the way she looks on this side. It's so on this side here. What I am going to do here is, if you take a look, the symmetry, or her hair sticks out a little more here. So we're just going to take and pin that down, and it's going to give it a little more it's going to bring that in and give it some more symmetry. So take a pin and push that up. I'm going to find that with my right hand and my pointer finger. All right. So your chignon is done. It's beautiful. In reality, in salon time, this whole step here that we did with the crown and then the rope braid probably would have taken you 15 minutes, maybe a little longer with the set, but 15 minutes to get that pinned up, and you didn't overexert yourself with having to curl the hair all over the place and all this long hair. And you've created a beautiful end result so far. All right, so from here we're going to spray this with our soft finish hairspray. Again, this is a working spray, so you're not going to overdo it on this, and you have the ability to move the hair still. So now let's move on to the sides. This is where we're going to add in our accessories. So let's drop, I'm going to start on her left side, my left side. I'm going to drop the curls that are curled away from her face, and the one curl that is on the left side of the part that goes down to the natural recession point. I'm going to lower her just a little bit because I'm short. All right. From here, I'm going to take my soft bristle brush and just give it a nice brush so I can curl or brush out those curls. All right, so I can see where I created that on the left side of the part where I had that curl there. So I'm going to find that section again, and here we've been doing, throughout the whole head, we have been doing vertical lacing. What we're going to do now is we're going to do horizontal lacing on this one section here, which is again on the left side of the part, and this curl was curled away from the part in a downward motion. So we're going to come up to about 3 inches again and push down, come up to 2 and push down. Now, if you don't get a lot of lacing the first time around, it's okay. You can come back up and do it again. So I didn't feel like I got enough, so I went back up to 3 inches and pushed down. We're going to come down to 2 inches to push down, and then 1 inch and push down. Again, I'm not looking for a ton of volume here. So on the sides, the 2 curls that I curled back and away from the face, I'm going to subdivide that section. And you should have a pretty easy time finding your sectioning, because your curls, they should fall into place for you where you have the curls there, so you should be able to find that section really easy. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to come out at 3, and now we're doing vertical sectioning again, or vertical lacing. So we're going to 3 inches, 2 inches, 1 inch. And then I'll come to the front here and we'll do the same thing. 3 inches, 2 inches, 1 inch. All right, so now she's got some lacing in there. We're going to bring that top section down, and now we're going to hide the lacing with our soft bristle brush. Again, utilizing the outside of the brush so we don't pull all of that work out, all of that lacing. And you want to ensure that you bring it all the way down to the end so you have nice tangle-free ends. Okay, so here's where the fun begins. I'm going to give this a nice spray with our soft hold hairspray. And what this is going to do is it's just going to help maintain any flyaways that may happen. Oops. All right. I went to my local Joann Fabrics. You can get these at a craft store, but I went to Joann Fabrics and I had 3 1-foot strands of beads, or ribbon with beads on it, cut. So we're going to add these into the rope braids that we're about to create. So how we're going to do that is I'm going to hold the rope beads in the middle so it's even on both ends. It's evenly distributed. And what we're going to do is we're going to separate her left side so it's one large section. We've smoothed out the lacing. I'm going to separate this right behind the ear. So it is separated right back here behind the ear. I'm going to redo that again. And I'm using my fingers to comb this. But I'm going to separate it in two behind the ear, and that's where we're going to start our rope braid. I'm going to then take our beads, with our lace beads, that's not right, it is a ribbon with beads on it. I'm going to then divide it, again keeping the ends so they're evenly distributed, into each section of the hair that I've separated. Still working behind the ear, so I have a section of hair and ribbon in my right hand, and a section of hair and ribbon in my left hand. How we're going to do this is we're going to create a rope braid. So I'm going to start with my right hand. I'm going to twist by pinching the hair and the ribbon between my thumb and pointer finger to the right. I'm then going to pinch that section of hair in my right hand with my pointer and thumb of my left hand. Make sure my ends are brushed out nicely, and then I'm going to retwist the right side. So what that did is it created a nice lock. So now the ribbon and the beads are intertwined with that twist. So I'm going to hold that section in my hand with all of my other fingers besides my pointer and thumb. And I'm going to move to the left side because we need to twist that still. So I'm going to twist the left side towards the right, pinch it with my thumb and my pointer finger of my right hand, make sure the ends are smoothed out, twist it again to the right, pinching it with my right hand, and then I'm going to separate them. So now you can see that both sides, the beads and the ribbon, are locked into the rope braid. So from here, again, we're right behind the ear. So we're going to continue now to cross the left hand or the left section under the right, and we're going to twist both sections to the right, and then we're going to cross, and we're going to continue to do our rope braid with our ribbon and beads all the way down to the end of the hair. I want you to notice that I am not pulling the rope braid and the hair out away from the head. I'm pulling it back. So it's important to pull it in the direction that you want it to live. I want this rope braid to come back, and we're going to intertwine it into the chignon. So keep it going back towards where you want it to go. That way you're not creating unwanted volume. And sometimes if you tend to pull the hair out away from the face as you're rope braiding or braiding in general, it can create ribbons in the hair and unwanted gaps or sections. So keep it going in the direction you want it to live. So once we get towards the ends of the rope braid and the hair, what we're going to do next is I'm not going to put a clear elastic on this quite yet. What I'm going to do is take a look at the front. So you put a lot of work into the front of this hair by setting it. What I want to do here is I'm going to start to pull the hair out, and we're going to start to rouge it like we did with the rope braid in the back. So if you're comfortable to not use an elastic, feel free to do that. If it makes you uncomfortable to not use an elastic, put an elastic on. There's no right or wrong here. But I just want to expand this and make it a little larger. And how I'm doing that is I'm just pinching and pulling the hair. And again, I'm starting from the top of the section as opposed to the bottom, so I'm not working against myself. And I want this top here just to be a little thicker. So I'm going to pull this out just a little more and continue to work over again what I've already rouged. I'm going to show the other side of the room in just a moment what I did on the other side of the head. All right, so when the rope braid is expanded to the amount that you want it, let's have a look at the front of the head here. So I want this to be soft, and again, I'm not looking for it to be super structured. But you can see that she's starting to get that natural curl pattern to come into the hair that we put in there. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to have a look at the front here. I like the way that looks. So we're going to then take this rope braid and we're going to start to zigzag it across the back of the chignon. So I'm going to start, I'm going to go over the top of the chignon, and I'm going to take a closed pin, and I'm going to pin this in. And so here, you can pin it in however you like. I'm going to go in a downward motion again, and I'm going to crisscross that pin with another closed pin. We're going to come to the side here, and I'm going to secure this hair here with the closed pin in a downward motion. And from there, we're going to start to zigzag this across the middle of the chignon. And we're just going to pin that again, and I'm going in a diagonal downward motion. Secure it. All right, so now that's all I have for the chignon, or left of the hair. The ribbon, I'm going to leave that there for just a second. What we're going to do now is just continue to expand the rope braid and make it bigger, which is then going to pronounce the beads a little more. This technique is also great for clients who have really long hair or solid hair. They don't have a lot of dimension in their hair. Maybe they don't color their hair, or they color it one color. Getting colorful beads or ribbons or strands of fabric or whatever it may be to add in is a great way to add a pop of color into that client who may not use chemicals to create dimension in their hair. So that's a great idea for this technique as well. So we're going to continue to expand this and pull it out. Don't be afraid to make this as big as you want it, or maybe not. Maybe you like to have it a little more structured back here with the rope braid. It's totally up to you. All right, so I'm going to take my soft finish hairspray, and we're going to spray this to give it a little bit of hold. And you can see now she's starting to get some nice texture and dimension going on in there with the beads. She has that little end of string of beads here on the side. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm actually just going to take that and pin it underneath the hair, just to get it out of the way, because it's not necessary to have this out. But if you wanted to leave it out, you could. It's totally up to you. All right, so left side is done. Let's move on to the right side, and I'm going to move over to the side of the room so you guys can all see what I'm doing. I'm going to drop the pins, or the clips, excuse me, for my set. Okay, so we're going to grab our moon comb again, and we are going to I'm going to start at the top of the section here. Actually, I'm going to brush this out quick, just so I'm not getting wrapped up in tangles. Perfect. All right, we are going to start at the top of the section here, and we're going to create some nice volume. I'm going to try to find my sections. It shouldn't be too hard to find that I had the set in, and I'm going to pull this up at 90 degrees, and I'm going to come in at 3 inches and push back down to the scalp. I'm lacing 2 inches and then 1 inch. I'm going to pin that, or push that over to the side so it's out of my way. What's nice about this moon comb too is even though it is a lacing comb, you can use it as a comb and kind of get your snarls out as you're working through your sections. All right, so 3 inches, push back to lace, 2 inches, and then 1 inch. And we're coming up to the natural recession point here. So this will be the last horizontal section I take. All right, and now we're going to move on to the sides. And again, if you recall, we did two vertical curls that went away from the face. Find my section, perfect. All right, so from here, we are going to comb this out. We're going to come out at 3 inches and push back, 2 inches, push back, push back. We'll find the next section. 3 inches, push back, 2 and 1. Perfect. All right, so we're going to incorporate all of this hair, and we're going to use our soft bristle brush. I'm actually going to give this a nice spray with our soft finish hairspray. I'm going to utilize again the outside edges of my soft bristle brush, and I'm just going to gently brush out the visible lacing. All right, we're going to spray the hairspray on there again with soft finish hairspray. All right, once you have all of your visible lacing brushed out, what we're going to do from here is we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. So again, I have my second piece of, this is a foot, so I think I said an inch before. This is 1 foot of ribbon, not an inch. That's a big difference. Okay, so again, how we're going to do this is everything is, all this entire section is brushed together in my hands. Feel free to use your fingers if you need to. So how we're going to do this is we are going to separate this section. This is a large section, so we're separated again right behind the ear, because that's where we're going to place our beads. We're going to take our beads, we're going to make sure that they are evenly distributed, so the length is even, they're even at the bottom, and we're going to place it in the hair. And from here, you want to make sure again, so I'm standing a little too far out, so that makes me want to pull the hair out. What I want to make sure is I'm standing maybe right behind center of the head, or just behind my section itself, so that I'm not wanting to pull the hair out, because that tends to happen. You pull the hair where your body's at. So I'm going to stand right behind my section. I have it separated. I'm again going to start with, turn it just a little bit so you can see better. I'm going to start with my right hand, which is this one here, and I'm going to twist it to the right. I'm going to pinch that section in my right hand with my left hand, pointer and thumb. Smooth out the ends, and then I'm going to twist it again to the right. All right, so you can see now that it has a nice lock. So the ribbon's locked in, the twist is locked in. So now I'm going to hold this section with all of my other fingers, with the exception of my thumb and my pointer finger in my right hand. Left hand, I'm going to pinch that section with my right hand, pointer, finger, and thumb. Smooth out the ends of the left section. I'm then going to grab with the left section with my left hand, and I'm going to twist it to the right. Pinch it with my pointer finger and thumb of my right hand. Smooth out the ends of the section with using my left hand, and then twist it again. So now we have that nice lock. From here, I'm going to take my left section and I'm going to cross it underneath the right. I'm going to retwist that section, my left section, which is now underneath the right section. I'm going to pinch the right section, which is on top of the left section, and give it another twist. So it's kind of a reset. And then I'm going to cross the right section, which is on the top, underneath the left. And I'm going to continue to create this rope braid with the ribbon and beads all the way down to the end of the hair. All right. So here, now we're going to start our rouging. So the rouging, and we're going to start at the top here. I did not add a clear elastic binder to this, or clear elastic, excuse me. I'm just going to hold this with my hand. Again, if you're more comfortable with an elastic, you should definitely use it. But I'm going to start to rouge, and by rouging, I'm just pulling the hair out gently. And I'm holding the hair with my left hand, and I'm pulling with my right hand. And notice that I'm not holding the hair out away from the head, I'm holding the hair close to the head, and again, in the direction that I want the hair to live. So once I get that rouging in there and I get it a little more on the loose side in the front, I want to take a look at the front here because I want to see some texture up here. I want to create a little bit of a swoop on her face. It makes it a little softer end result. Create a little more volume up on top maybe, and we're just going to use my fingers and pinch that. Pinch that hair so it creates a little bit more of a organic look rather than a very polished, structured finish. All right. So from here, what we're going to do, I'm going to spin her back around so you can see, is we're going to, now on the other side, I took the rope braid and I went over the top of the chignon. I'm not going to do that with this side because I don't want to have a huge concentration of beads and ribbon at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this second side underneath the top of, underneath where we finished our rope braid from the left side. So I'm going to move around here, grab a clothespin, and I'm actually going to take this clothespin and I'm going to push it into the chignon. Find that pin and then cross it to secure it. So there you go, that is secured right there. We're going to spin this back around. Now I'm going to start to pin into the chignon. Bring this over to the side here and pin it in. Now I'm getting stuck in the ribbon. Ribbon does not give like hair does, so kind of have to fight with that sometimes, but just go in between the braid, rope braid itself, and you should be able to pin that in just fine. There we go. Okay, so now I have these ribbon ends, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cross them back over. I'm going to pin them into the opposite side. And I grabbed a little bit of hair from the chignon and I pushed that up in there, up into the chignon. So now I have some extra ribbon left. I'm just going to take this ribbon and I'm going to spin it around the clothespin. And I'm going to find a home for it and push it up into the hair. And I'm going to secure that with another clothespin. Okay, so now our chignon is looking a little bit flat, so there's an easy solution to that. All we need to do is take and pull and separate. Don't be afraid to get your hands in there and really just rouge it and pull that hair out so it expands. And by expanding it too, you can really see the beads come to life in here. So let's take a look from the side and make sure that it's even and symmetry. I'm going to spin her so you can see on the other side. I feel like she's collapsed just a little bit in the center here, so I'm really digging into that chignon that we started this with, the original chignon, and pulling that out so it's a little fuller. I'm also going to add in a couple more closed pins just because I started to pull on this and they kind of loosened up. But to me, this is looking pretty good. So I'm going to finish her with some soft finish hairspray. got just a little bit of the ribbon tail hanging out on this side of her head, so we're going to just pin those in. Again, no big deal. And with this, I'm just going to slide the ribbon onto the bobby pin, or excuse me, the clothespin. There we go. And voila! You have a beautiful chignon that has a lot of texture and dimension to it, utilizing rope braids and ribbon with bead on it. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. I am Katie Rote with Pureology, and I hope you have a wonderful day.